All right, everyone, welcome to a new episode, a new tutorial-esque video thing on my channel. And before we get started, please leave a like if you enjoy any of these designs you're about to see, and comment if you have anything you'd like to comment, and always consider subscribing, as I would love to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I have something to show for 5 years on YouTube, you know? It'd be kind of nice. But anyways, if you're new to my channel, I'm pleased to meet you. My name is Iondis. As I've said, I've been on YouTube for 5 years. I've been doing Minecraft for about the same amount of time as well. And I'm going to preface this video with this, I am still learning as a builder. Things that I build now, things that I show today, things that I show that I've built in the past are always going to grow, they're always going to change, and nothing's ever going to stay the same, because that's just how Minecraft is, especially with the introduction of new blocks and things like that. Now, I will not be going over any blocks that are coming up in the next 1.16 Nether update that's supposed to come out next week, June something, only because I'm not touching that until it gets updated, and then Optifine comes out, because I don't want to even mess with it until then, or upgrade my worlds till then. But I will be doing everything pre then, so 1.15 and back, 1.15.2 to be specific, and back, of course. So now, before I get into the actual 100 wall designs that you guys must have clicked this video on to see, I did want to take the time to show you, as you can see around me, some builds I've done in the past to kind of see what my inspiration is and how I build. And this will kind of give you an idea of what my actual wall designs will be. And by wall, I need to preface this as well. Hopefully you can understand it by the thumbnail. Wall is for a wall of a building, not a wall like you're building a castle wall type thing. But anyways, without further ado, one of the first things I started building was, of course, a starter house. I believe this was the first thing I started building. Something like this. But as you can see with each sections I do, they're either 3 or 5 wide in between wood posts that come out. So everything is usually 2 block thick walls. So you have 1 block here, which is the wood line, and then you have 1 block here for the actual wall, and then you have the inside. And with that, it allows for a lot of different ways to actually, play around and decorate things. So with this, I added some texturized different cobblestone walls on the corners, and of course windows are right there with the stairs, and then in the middle here, same thing with the door, with the stair for the doorway. And again, you can do this at 3 or 5, make it a 3 window like I did here, or on the other side there were 2 separate windows. I will say very rarely do I build like this, where there's not much definition or too thick walls. This one's okay because I did it as a tombstone type burial ground thing. So some cases I will, but most of the time I try not to do this because I like to add more detail and depth to things. Same thing here, although even though it isn't too wide technically, I do have these over arches on the ceiling just to provide some roofage, I guess. So I try to still add detail where I can and not leave things too simple. As most people usually watch on my videos on my channel, I built this barn tutorial a couple years ago, and as you can see here, it's not texturized, but I believe I did texturize it on one side, or not, whatever. The real barn was texturized when I built it. Oh yeah, there's examples over there, if you can't tell. But over here, again, the 2 thick wall idea. We have the wood usually as supports and then stone behind it, because no one really builds things out of stone as supports medieval-wise. Here, I take that back what I said about no one uses stone for stone supports, because this was direct inspiration from Whiterun and Skyrim. They had an inn that was built like this kind of triangle thing, and I did build it once in a random survival world I was playing that didn't get on YouTube, but hey. And here, the stone supports are pretty much supporting stone. And this is pretty rare for me, and the reason why I don't like to do this is because it's so gray and there's not much pops of color you can really do. I mean, I probably could have tried to, added some concrete in there to give it a different texture, but still the colors would have been around the same gray palette. Instead, whenever working with the same color palette or something similar, I always try to do it where I get softer and, well, not softer, perfectly refined at the top and broken down at the bottom. So we go from stone bricks down to cobblestone at the bottom. Most recently, in my most recent Let's Play though, you can see I've been trying to do a Roman Mediterranean feel, and again, I'm still working with the 2 blocks type of wall, only now instead of wood, it's stone, bricks, ladders. Why do I want to say ladders? Stone brick walls is the secondary position of the wall. And I'm trying to keep things a little simple with this design just because it's kind of how it works for the era and the time that it was made in. And most recently, if you watched the latest episode of my Let's Play last week, you know I've built this giant building basically for my new base, and it's supposed to be the Library of Alexandria, inspiration from Civilization 6. But again, we have more of this double wide thick wall here with an actual design, although technically you could call this 3 wide because the concrete powder that gives it the background pop of color is technically a 3rd layer behind. So I'm just trying to give it a little extra depth. This wall would be about 2 thick because there's not an additional depth layer here. But I'm just trying to play around with it, obviously, and mix and match. Of course, one of my all-time favorite designs is this medieval inn I did for an SMP I was on a few years ago. And this, again, I was playing around with it. We have stone mostly on the bottom as supports and wood for the upper rafters and structures. Most of this is honestly kind of the same thing, just repeated. Obviously, the stairs are pretty repetitive and the buttons are just there for additional details. But even if it's small and repetitive, it still looks like it's detailed and crazy, which is what I absolutely adore about it. In addition, on that SMP, I built a tent, which, as you can see here, is kind of being made in this creative world. And this is where I kind of went ham on the wall idea. This is, instead of 2 blocks wide, this is technically 4 blocks wide, if you count the concrete powder in the back. And you could have made it even wider if you did more detailing on the yellow wall instead of just leaving it as concrete powder like I did. But I'm definitely trying to work with more depth here, just because it was such a grand build in comparison. And now, without further ado, we're actually to the point where I'm going to show you my 100 wall designs. And drum roll, please. Ta-da! I have to first start off by saying that we have 3 different sizes here. The first one is 3 blocks wide, the second 2 lines are 5 blocks wide, and then the last line in the back is 7 blocks wide. And these are not obviously all-inclusive. There are still so many other things you could do that I have not done, and I'll probably keep continuing this series until I run out of ideas. But, as I've shown you before, I tend to... if I could fly. Oh, God, it's so far away. Like, I tend to do these wood outlines, and then in the back I have some other details and such like that. That's what this is supposed to be. It has a wood outline, but it doesn't have a roof or anything connecting it, so don't try to look for details like that. So, starting off here in the front, and also keep in mind, yes, these colors are picked out, but they are not obviously, you don't have to copy them color for color. You can change the colors up, you can do whatever you'd like. It's a creative world out there, make whatever you like. This is just for inspiration. That's it, and just sharing my ideas. Now, if you've watched Mumbo Jumbo, you know that stone slabs are his absolute all-time favorite thing, so I figured why not start off with that with decorating. This is very simple. I'd probably use these few designs if I was doing interiors from some type of lab work or something, trying to keep it as a minimalistic design. And then again, you can kind of change it up with the different materials and different stone and block off how much concrete powder or whatever background block you put there. Or you could just go crazy and put actual glass there, although it'd probably be better with glass blocks versus the panes because it connects to the concrete, but hey. You could always make it overgrown, put string instead if you wanted to, not have the vines grow everywhere, of course. Always feel free to put bushes or flowers in them. As you can see, that's my favorite thing to do with those. Of course, fences and fence gates, they make great details, and you can have them open or closed. Either way, it doesn't particularly matter. Same thing with trapdoors. Hell, you could even change this up so that the trapdoors act a little bit like windows, and you could put a window in there. Banners of 2. Banners are a little difficult because they do despawn quickly because they're considered an entity, I believe. So they should be gone there. Yeah, banners and signs, actually, as you can tell because of the sign over there. So they are interesting to the eye, but if you're trying to do a build that you can see from far away, it may not be the best idea to invest in. Same thing with signs, even though they do make for an interesting pattern that you can create. Anvils, if you're super rich, also make an interesting pattern. Same thing with walls. And then, of course, end rods, again, if you're rich. And this, I would still probably classify it as part of like a layer laboratory. Oh my God, words.
Laboratory.
You get what I'm trying to say. Soon we'll have chains too in 1.16, so I can't wait to experiment with that. But until then, you got iron bars. You got even wire, what are these called? Tripwire hooks. I don't even remember what they're called. And of course, you don't have to make them perfect. You could just put like one there as a design for something. Buttons, same thing. They added a little pattern to it. You could just cover it all up and make it look like it's got an indent in it by using stairs. You can always over-design at the top, like I've done here, and include hanging lanterns and things like that, or design it a bit different. Alright, starting with the 5 thick walls. These are actually my personal favorites. The one back here, these are pretty hard to... Not hard. I'd say more resource consuming because you'd have so much logs that you're using. And these ones, as far as exteriors, usually look the best to have it as a 3 thick or a 5 thick on them in between the wood logs. And this is just taken, as you can tell, mostly from my tavern example with the excessive use of stairs, trying to bolster all parts of this additional like loggage up there. Of course, you don't have to have the flowers and the leaves. That can be all additional. You could form this out like this, and then you could put a window here. I won't show that because the concrete powder is just going to fall. Again, you could put a window there, a window there. Same thing here. All these could have windows, honestly. I do like the type of weird like figure 8 thing it did here. Makes for a really interesting design if that's what you're trying to show off. Again, this kind of looks like a door opening, but still interesting. Simple flowers, just simple bushes, simple planters that have nothing in it. More flowers with lots of trapdoors. Again, this is what I'm saying with the windows. You could easily put one in here and have it all framed out, although you can't really see any of the concrete powder, so there's no point, but you could always just get rid of it and do that. Again, it's framed perfectly for a window, and that's kind of why I like doing designs like this, so that I can have an excuse to put a window in. And these are all pretty basic, similar, although I do like how these turned out. Just again, they remind me of doing a pattern on a wall, like you're trying to do a wallpaper design, considering there's no wallpaper except for using maps in Minecraft, so this is a lot easier to do versus making a ton of maps. In continuation, we have some extra designs here being brought to you by, oh my gosh, I don't remember, oak signs. I keep forgetting words. And in addition, you could top it off if you add a little design or writing onto the actual sign itself. I know some people are really good at actually getting like characteristics, like weird characters and even emojis on there, so that could be really interesting depending on what you do with it. Same thing, trapdoors also provide needed detail if you're trying to make a pattern. Flowers, of course, always love flowers. You could even do something like this. Actually like that, so it looks like they have rafters. Not trapdoors, whatever these are called. Gates also are really good. I love how they, like I said, they look good for rafters because they look like little wooden supports. Fences as well. Iron bars as well, because why not? Again, simple flowers, always good. And little play with the stairs here, give it a little extra depth. Again, this one is a little different. The last one had it on the same line here. So these are alternating, and it looks even more like a door opening closure because they can slide right into each other perfectly. Just a little extra designs. Again, just some designs. This was an example just to show you how you can take it up and have it stick out by one, because a lot of times they do that in medieval builds where it sticks out an additional block for the upper floors. So that's one way you could do it, by using stairs. You could even put stairs here to help layer it out so that it looks a bit smoother transitioning up. Same thing, more designs. This could actually look really cool for a church design now that I think about it. Put some glass back there instead of concrete powder. Yeah, this was really compact, honestly, but it still looks cool in my mind. This definitely has a perfect space for a window there. Like I said, like a window perfectly in there. Again, more designs for fun. Another window could go there. Honestly, everything could have a window. This I would do if you're trying to like raise the foundation. So like, let's say you have a little bit of the foundation going down, but you want the floor level to be just about here. So like, these are basically the stilts that the house or the building is on, and then up here would be the full wall that you can do, if that makes sense. Finally, the last row, I started playing around with some cobblestone walls and lanterns, because lanterns are always a great thing to add to the outside of your builds and light things up and keep you safe from mobs. And then this I would always use. This could be really good, not only a window, or it could be a, could even do that. It could be a window like that, or you could remove this and have it be a door frame. Again, banners, something you could always do just to add a pop of color or something. But again, keep in mind, if it's supposed to be looked at from far away, they won't stay loaded for long. As well, again, you can use trapdoors like crazy. And trapdoors, why do I keep calling them gates? And you technically don't even need, like I said, like I showed here, the third gate in the middle, because it looks kind of the same. It's just a little thicker here if you add it. So either way, it's just up to you. Obviously, all these are up to you. And again, I really like this one just because it comes out so much and sticks out so far. It definitely adds a nice little overhang look to everything. This one, again, similar to the situation with the yellow one where I said you would want the floor to start here, so you have it come down like rafters a little bit, or stilts or whatever, and then you have your floor here. Again, trapdoors, they can kind of help circle things off. You could even keep them open like this if you wanted to. Or you can just add them in the corners for a little bit of extra detail. A normal little circle, basically. Of course, my traditional put stairs everywhere. Buttons make great additions as well. I don't care about the concrete powder, just because you can plop them anywhere and then you suddenly have a little bit of extra interest. Just like that. Again, more stairs everywhere, making it a perfect triangle diamond shape. Another shape just for funsies, another shape for funsies. Again, just a bunch. Honestly, Minecraft is just supposed to be a creative thing. So a lot of this is just making patterns, having fun and designing things the way you think that look the best. And if other people don't agree with it, then who cares? It's your world and your designs, and you're just expressing yourself creatively. But yeah, that's gonna have to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed my little showcase of builds I've done, as well as these 100 wall designs. Like I said, I'll probably keep this going or do 100 of something else in another episode. Again, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, because I'd greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a good one. Bye, guys.